Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky. I'm back with my plans and pans. Well, I thought that it might slow down for Democrats, considering that we're not in the majority this time, but I had one of my busiest weeks in the House of Representatives, going to lots of press conferences, meeting with a lot of people. It was actually so busy that I had 22,000 steps yesterday, a bunch of them going up and down stairs. I'm kind of proud of that. Anyway, I wanted to tell you about the work that we did. Mostly we were settling the committees, people being assigned. When you're in the minority, there were some people who were knocked off of committees because they changed the ratios. They have more people than we have. The Republicans made some of the committees smaller. So good news for me. Last session, I was chair of the subcommittee on consumer protection and commerce. Well, I'm back on that committee, but it has a new name. It is called the Innovation, Data, and Commerce Subcommittee. I'm hoping that that doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to do some of the work that we did to protect consumers from dangerous products, etc. And the chair of that committee will be Congressman Gus Bilirakis from Florida. He and I got along so well last year. We were able to pass very important bills working in a bipartisan way. I congratulated Gus on his chairmanship, and he was saying, let's together move forward. So I am looking forward to that. So a bill that I've been working on for many years was reintroduced. We had a press conference on it. It's called the EACH Act, and EACH stands for Equal Access to Abortion Coverage in Healthcare, which of course is a priority of mine to make sure that reproductive rights are reinstated. And that press conference was well attended by lots of the advocates, my colleagues, including Barbara Lee. She and I had originally introduced that legislation. Ayanna Pressley spoke. And we're going to continue to fight. The fight goes on. We know that we represent the view of the majority of Americans when it comes to abortion rights. I had a wonderful bicameral press conference that I participated in. Republicans are making such an issue out of people streaming across the border, preventing immigrants from coming in. Of course, I represent a haven in the 9th Congressional District for people from all over the world, and we're proud of it. My high school growing up, Sullivan High School, a book was written about it, Refugee High, and this is intentional that we want to be that kind of country. And as a first-generation American myself, neither of my parents was born in the United States, I wanted to be at a press conference saying that we can do better at the border. Asylum is legal. Seeking asylum in the United States is legal. But because of Title 42, a provision that says that now people are going to have to ask for asylum from their country of origin, which is impossible for so many people. President Biden initially said that he was going to get rid of Title 42, but unfortunately it's been reinstated. And so people are stuck. They are traveling hundreds, sometimes thousands of miles to get to the United States of America and can't even appeal their request for asylum in our country. We are calling on the president to reconsider his initial position to get rid of Title 42 and to open up the borders to people who are seeking asylum. And if they are not adjudicated to be eligible, they then, of course, would have to leave. We are a long way yet toward immigration reform, comprehensive immigration reform. But again, it's a fight that we can't give up on. I was proud to join the announcement of the Heartland Caucus. That is those of us who represent the Midwest, the Great Lakes. And you know, for too long, especially in Congress, we've been seen as kind of a flyover zone. The major leaders in the Congress, they're all from the coast, and we feel that as the heartland, the people who make things and grow things ought to have more attention. We did very well in the midterm elections to make sure that Democrats are well represented in the heartland. And I was happy to join people from all over the region saying that we are going to stand up for the Midwest. I personally was talking about the joy of living almost a stone's throw from Lake Michigan. We're so proud of the Great Lakes, so important that we protect them. But I also wanted to mention that in Chicago, we have 21 beaches, no sharks, as a enticement to come to our coast and swim in our lakes and enjoy the city of Chicago. But beyond that, of course, all of the region. So now we are the proud members of the Heartland Caucus. I spoke out against the fact that Donald Trump has been allowed back on Facebook. And in the interviews that I did, I mentioned that Facebook was really there at ground zero of the insurrection. And the truth of the matter is, very much of it was coordinated on Facebook, the planners, the people who strategized what to do on January 6th. And then for Facebook now, who themselves have responsibility for what happened, are letting the chief insurrectionist, the person who really instigated the insurrection, Donald Trump, back on Facebook. One of the questions was, well, hasn't he been kind of diminishing in his profile? I said, yes, exactly, because he has been kept off of some of these major platforms. And the very idea, even though he's running for president, which he should not be allowed to run for president of the United States, he should not have a bigger and bigger platform. So I said he should not have been invited to be back on Facebook. So I'm appealing to those of you who have used Ticketmaster to let me know if you have experienced many of the problems, and I would say even ripoffs, of Ticketmaster. They were revealed in the Senate hearing on Ticketmaster. They ultimately raised the price, the actual ticket price that may be, let's say, $30, that they raise it by 40 or 50%. And you don't know about that until the end of the transaction. So we feel that this is a monopoly, that they control most of the live events and the ability to get there. And if you have examples, I would like to tell your story of Ticketmaster. You can let us know if there's been good experiences as well. But I think at the very least, you're probably paying a good deal more than you thought the ticket was actually going to cost you. So I see this as a consumer protection issue, and I'd like to hear from you if you've had a problem. Lastly, I wanted to tell you to keep your eyes open for CBS Evening News, where I did an interview about food safety. Unfortunately, in the United States of America, most of the food additives, and there are thousands of them, had not been tested, sometimes for decades and decades, if ever. Unlike the European Union, that has actually banned a number of additives to food, mostly chemical additives, the United States has not done that. And so in our food, we are unprotected. I have introduced legislation that would call for a reassessment of hundreds and thousands of additives, beginning with 10 of the ones that have been already banned in the European Union. So watch for that. We want to put the F back in the Food and Drug Administration. There has not been the kind of scrutiny that we need for years and years and years, longer than some of you have been born. So we want to make sure that our food is safe. I also want to remind you that on Friday, we recognized International Holocaust Remembrance Day, and our hearts go out to all the families who have had victims of that most horrific tragedy, and renew our commitment to the words never again. Thanks so much for listening in, and I look forward to seeing you next week. I especially want to encourage those of you who are new to the 9th Congressional District. If I haven't been your congressperson before, I hope you'll sign in to Pans and Plans. Thanks. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.